Hey everyone, it's Iki here. So we're going to continue on with our pattern drafting tutorial. I went ahead with the one that we made last time and kind of pulled it all together, see how it looked. The next step for this tutorial is going to be making the blouse that goes underneath as well as the apron. With the apron, we're not actually going to do drafting for it because it's your typical apron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film basically just pinning this, adjusting it, and making the tie belt, and then we'll go ahead and do the blouse the same way that we did the dress.
What we're going to want to do here is make sure that we take our waist measurement and create a straight line with that. I generally do a 2-inch waistband, so that'll translate out to 4 inches that you're cutting out. And then just measure it out, cut it out, and hem it up. You'll have your waistband. So that's the process of just kind of eyeing it, more or less drafting it with the fabric itself. Aprons are pretty easy, they're just 2 rectangles to sew together. So what we're going to go ahead and move on to now is I'm going to get my dress form down to the point where we'll just be able to draft off the top, and I'll walk you through the process of drafting the blouse as well as how to cut it out and pin it so that it's ready for you to sew. So once again, you're going to need your tissue paper, your tape, and your push pins. So what I'm doing for this particular blouse type is it's the equivalent of almost like a little crop top, and then it's going to have sleeves, little tiny half sleeves off the side. You'll see once we get closer. But once again, I'm starting with just doing the half. This one can be a little bit bigger, and I would almost recommend it because what we're going to do is we're going to scrunch it and we'll do a tie on it. So we're going to gather and tie.
So as we can see here, I'm laying out the pattern that we just created. I'm going to go ahead and give it a couple of extra inches just so that we can have enough room to gather. Now take your fabric and start pinning. Fold the fabric into 4 pieces. Place what would be your middle seam along the fold. Pin and cut. Next, what you'll want to do is take a measurement around your arm, then double it. What we're going to do for this is we're making our puffy sleeves. So you're going to take that doubled measurement, lay it out, cut out 2 rectangles, one on top of the other. This is going to be the way that you get the gathered effect once we either put elastic or a draw cord within. We're going to go ahead and take it over to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how you do the gathering on these as well as sew it together, and also probably show you how we do the apron too. So let's get over there. Alright, so we're at my sewing machine. We'll go ahead and get started. in lieu of ironing down my hem or my edge there, I'm actually just pinning it and then I'm going to stitch it on. It gives it kind of that nice stay stitch look when we go ahead and attach this to our apron. Next step is the apron itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it inside out, much like you would a pillowcase. From there, I will flip it right side out, press down on my seam edges so that I get a nice stay stitch. After that, we're going to go ahead and gather it.
next what we're going to do is we're going to change our stitch so that it is a wider straight stitch. It'll be longer stitches and it'll allow us to gather. So what you'll do is you'll do 2 sets of stitches side by side. I usually do them about 1/4 inch apart each. That way we can gather them, and then I'll show you the gathering process as well.
After we get the apron gathered, let's go ahead and attach on that waistband. Now it's time to sew the blouse together. What you're going to see me do here is I'm going to sew on the sides together, and then I'm going to create a hem all the way around the top as well as the bottom. This is going to create a casing for us to either run cording or elastic through. now we're going to go ahead and create our gather. So what I'm doing for this project is I'm actually going to be threading ribbon through using a safety pin and then a smaller ribbon than what my fold over allowance is. However, you can also use anything like a cording or even a smaller elastic to achieve the same effect. I also stitched it just to one side of the top because I'm creating a center gather. This is just a stylistic thing that I'm choosing to do. You can do it however you would like. Sorry for the clothing change there, had to come back to this the next day. So what we're going to do here is we're going to rinse and repeat all of our gathering steps. The biggest difference this go around is that with our tiny little arm gathers for the little sleeves, is we're just going to make sure that we stitch just one part of the top piece to where our curve is in our blouse for the arm attachment. You'll see what I do on the screen here.
we're gonna go ahead and try the whole thing on together. I'm sorry that the aspect of this video changed during the rotation. It's the only way I could figure out how we could fit the whole thing in with the small amount of space that I have to work in. So let's go ahead and change into our new outfit. So with that, that concludes our tutorial on how to pattern a dirndl. Just remember that this pattern drafting tutorial can be used for any type of costume, and I'll go ahead and continue our series of pattern drafting with armor tutorials as well as other costumes and props. That being said, I want you guys to stay safe and happy crafting!